Hi all, it's Courtney and happy Thursday. As you probably saw from my morning post, today we're going to talk about follow-up. And hopefully what I have for you today are actual, tangible things that you can do today and tomorrow and moving forward to really get out of your own way and focus on follow-up. So one quote that I absolutely love around follow-up, and I actually have quite a few things written down, so bear with me if I look down at my notes. But think about this as we begin talking about tactics. Follow-up, instead of giving up, can truly turn what feels like a lost cause into an amazing opportunity. So I'll say it again, follow-up, instead of giving up, can turn what feels like a lost cause into an amazing opportunity. And that is so true. So I want everybody to think to themselves, do you have people who you've reached out to and you've heard nothing? You've heard crickets? All right, let's be real. Everybody has felt that, and I continue to feel that at times. But when we think about it and when we get out of our own way and stop taking it personal and thinking, oh, maybe it's just me or maybe they don't like me, you got to take that out of it first and foremost. When we do that, follow-up can be the key to success. So I've got a handful of tips and suggestions for you to think about and utilize immediately, and hopefully they'll help you out. And the first one's simple. When it comes to follow-up, the first tip is you have to do it. Believe it or not, following up is one thing that we tend not to do in our business. Maybe we forget, maybe we don't have a good tracking system to following up, but following up is just as important as the 3 vitals that we have as Beachbody coaches. If you don't follow up with the people that you've reached out to, 1, they may not think you're serious, and 2, you may miss the opportunity for somebody to say yes. So I implore you to make an actual system for following up. Keep a list of the people you've reached out to and develop a way to make sure that you follow up with each and every one of those people, even if it was a year ago. Maybe it was a month ago. Maybe it was 2 years ago, but you've got to follow up. So the first tip is you got to do it, right? Second one, you've got to be able to ask smart questions. One of the number 1 techniques in selling per se, as much as we don't want to call it selling, but let's call it sharing, is to make sure that you ask questions. And you ask questions to get an individual to really think. So for example, instead of asking somebody right away to purchase a challenge pack or a fitness program or even join an accountability group, start with questions around what their health and fitness goals are. What do they want to potentially change in their life to become more healthy? What is one thing that you find is your derailer when it comes to nutrition? Do you like to exercise? Is there any type of exercise that you like? How would you like, or how do you find yourself really holding yourself accountable? Ask these questions well before you get to anything around a challenge pack or drinking Shakeology or joining an accountability group, because the questions are going to help them to dig internally and really think about how something like an accountability group can really be impactful for them. So you've got to ask smart questions. Another thing that you need to do is get simple yeses. So I know we all want people to automatically say yes. Yes, I want to be a coach. Yes, I want to join your accountability group. Yes, I want to buy a challenge pack. We love those yeses. But what you've got to do is get somebody to get to the point of saying yes to other things. And maybe that's again by asking questions. Hey, is it okay if I follow up with you tomorrow and see how your day's going? Yes. Hey, would you be open to reading this article about how you can focus better on your nutrition? Or are you okay with me, or can I send you over a recipe that would be helpful for you as you're preparing dinner tomorrow? They're going to say yes. And the more yeses that they say, the more likely that when you get to the point of really talking about challenge packs and accountability groups, that they're going to say yes. So you got to get yeses. Yes, 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 yes. Another thing that's really gone by the wayside in regards to our society is personal notes. So I know for me, I do a lot of my business per se through Messenger. I think it's a wonderful way to do it, but sometimes people don't respond to Messenger. And if you're finding that they don't, what you've got to do is try to find a method, and one of those methods could be either, maybe it's text or email, but even more of that, send them a note. send them a card. And it's not something that says, hey, do you want to join me and buy a challenge pack? It's something that says, hey, I'm thinking about you. I hope you're having a great day. I'd love to connect with you. And that's it. Send some love. Send it in the mail and show how much you care about them. Next tip is in person. So again, I know we do a lot of our business virtually, which I think is incredible, but there is power in speaking to someone face to face. So if you have the ability to talk to somebody, maybe make a meeting at Starbucks, maybe you run into somebody and just start talking to them about their health and fitness, if it makes sense. But looking somebody in the eye is incredible. So anytime you can, especially when it comes to following up with people you've already started talking to, try to do so in person. So how many of you have messaged and messaged and messaged and messaged and messaged and just maybe received crickets, or just, oh yeah, I'm thinking about it, but then nothing comes of it? I know we all have. So what we've got to think about doing is changing it up. So that's the next tip. You've got to change it up. So first of all, you've got to be thoughtful in regards to when you actually follow up. Maybe for you have the same time of day in which you follow up with people, but you might need to change it up. What does that person do every single day? What do they do for a living? Are there times where you know that they might actually be available? Have you ever checked on Facebook if they're actually active when you send them a message? Because what happens is people get busy. We get busy, but people get busy, and they are going to not ever see or remember that a message actually happened. So you've got to be strategic about the time in which they follow up and or the method in which you follow up. And maybe that means it's something a little bit different, or a different time of day, or something of that nature. So again, you've got to change it up. The next tip is to remember that it's all about them. Of course, we want to share our story, and hopefully you're continuing to do that. But if you continue to talk about yourself, then it may turn somebody off. You've got to turn it around to make sure that they know that you care and that they're talking about you. So as you ask your questions and as you share your story, you've got to relate it back to them. You've got to relate it back to what they need and what they want, because if they cannot relate to you, then it's not going to have any impact on them. It truly isn't. They're going to ignore it or forget about it. So for example, if you're sharing all of these great results that you found through a program that they really could care less about or don't have a desire to do, it's not necessarily going to be impactful. But if you take from the questions you've asked them over time and you glean something from them that would be important for them, that's the types of things you want to share and personalize. So you've got to make sure that you make it about them. Another thing that's really important in regards to follow-up is getting agreement to follow up again. So instead of leaving a question or a statement open-ended, you can simply end the conversation with saying, are you okay with me following up with you in the next week to see if you have more questions, or to check in to see how you're feeling, or to see if you've had any further opportunity to look at the opportunities or the challenge packs I have for you. Something that leaves the door open for them to say, yes, it's okay for me to follow up. Now, if they don't answer from that, don't use that as, I'm never going to follow up with them again. It is tough to give an actual time frame that you should wait to follow up with somebody. You do have to use your judgment, but I would tell you that no follow-up is not the answer. Follow-up is key, and following up without being too pushy, although it can be difficult, is possible. Just Google follow-up without being pushy and you will get tips. I will tell you, you will get tips, and tips that will work for you, but you've got to remember that that follow-up is key. So to just sum it up, a few things that I went through. First of all, you have to do it, and you have to find a system to follow up. You've got to ask smart questions. You've got to ask questions and questions and questions, and it's not about a challenge pack. You need to get to know them first and ask questions about them before you get there. You've got to get yeses, small yeses, any yeses, all the yeses you can get. A handwritten note or a method of reaching out to them more personally, like in person, would be another great tip. Change it up. If it's not working, try a different way. Don't give up. Remember, it's all about them, and then gain agreement to follow up with them again. Gain agreement so that you can keep the connection going. Erin said to me the other day, she's trying to turn crickets into noise, and that's exactly what we're doing. Ryan shared with us yesterday that's extremely important to try to overcome those objections. Think about those tips. Combine it with these follow-up tips, and we've got magic. You've got to make sure you don't take it personal. You've got to overcome those objections and keep following up appropriately, and you will see success. I promise you, you will see success, but you've got to stick with it. So your challenge for today, obviously we want to make sure you include all of your vitals and all of the things that you're doing around connecting and inviting. But in addition to that, I want you to create a list of 10 people that you will follow up with in the next 48 hours. So in the next 48 hours, I want you to pick 10 people, write them down, and I want you to follow up with them. But instead of just saying, hey, do you want to buy that challenge pack or do you want to enjoy my group? Think about the conversations you've had with them. If it's not to the point where you know enough about them, simply follow up by asking a question about them. How are they feeling? How can they possibly improve what they're doing today in their nutrition? How can I help you? May we talk next week for about 10 minutes and really talk about what you're looking for? Can I answer any more questions about our conversations? Ask a question so that it invites them to want to engage with you. And remember, you've got to differentiate yourself. Everybody and their brother is out there trying to reach out to people and help them join their communities. But I would tell you, we know that this is the best community that you can be a part of, the best team, the best products, the best programs. So you've got to differentiate yourself and make it personal. So 10 people you're going to follow up with, I'd like you to write those 10 names down, snap a picture of it, and post it, and then I want you to share with the methods in which you're going to follow up with them, at least a couple of them with the team, because we can all learn from each other. It's time to follow up. Let's do it. Make it a great Thursday. Love you all.